Service agent, former NYPD officer, and host of the podcast Renegade Republican, Dan Bongino. Dan, good to see you this morning. The logistics of these types of trips, it's got to be a bit of a nightmare, I would think. Where do you sit down? Is the infrastructure safe enough for the president? Is he going to get in the way of people doing rescue efforts? Take us through some of that.
Yeah, these are really tough. I mean, the terrain features, right? Things you wouldn't think about on a normal presidential advance, like are there down power lines? I mean, that's not the kind of thing on a trip to, say, you know, downtown Baltimore to a women's shelter you would have to think about, right? Down power lines. Here's another thing. Access to a level 1 trauma hospital. That's a must for any Secret Service agent. God forbid on the trip there's a medical emergency and you have to take the president to a hospital. Where is the hospital? Is the hospital up and running? Is it accessible by car? Motorcade routes, are they shut off? Are the bridges even stable? These are really, really complicated trips. And you're right, the logistics is the big hang-up.
Well, and unfortunately, you have some of the media and critics of the president focus so much on the optics. I mean, the optics, of course, matter in important trips like this, but not focused nearly as much on rebuilding the state of Texas, rebuilding Houston, getting it to a place where they can continue on living their lives. We had David Bossie on earlier on the show, and he said, look, President Trump is not focused as much on the optics. He's focused on that rebuilding. Here's what he said.
The president is a builder, right? That's his entire life. So he's looking at rebuilding Houston and these devastated areas through a builder's eyes. He is going to demand that his leadership team at FEMA and other federal agencies, whether it's the Army Corps of Engineers or local agencies, do their best for the American people on a budget. And the president is not going to lose focus on these people.
It's interesting. The president has got a different background than we've seen with other presidents. I mean, he's a business guy at heart, right? He understands the impacts, not just what they're dealing with flooding and all the personal things they're going through, but also the economic impact. I mean, you think about a place like Houston, and it's been such a hub recently for oil and for chemical and for energy, you name it. Seems like he's the type of guy that's going to understand that.
Yeah, and, you know, this is a particularly infuriating story. I mean, the media is focused on the optics. I mean, I'm full of crap. I mean, what about the optics of a national mainstream liberal far-left bias anti-Trump media that during a biblical level tragedy in Texas is focused more on Melania Trump's footwear? I mean, this is absolutely absurd. Folks, listen, I get it. No tragedy is going to have a seamless response. But let's be honest, compared to Katrina, where there were a ton of lives lost, we've had the loss of life, although tragic, has been relatively slim compared to that. The federal response, although, again, not seamless, has been pretty good. The local response and the state response, again, not seamless, pretty good. And what do they focus on? What's on Melania Trump's feet as she boards Air Force One? I mean, if this doesn't speak to the moral vacuum in our media today, nothing does. This is why nobody takes them seriously anymore. They're nothing but a bunch of tabloid journalists. It's a sickening story.
Well, Dan, another angle of this is what Texas has shown America. The values there, the resilience there. So if you would, speak to what we've seen, been able to get a glimpse of with the way Texas and Houston has responded to this.
Yeah, you know, I sent out a sentiment the other day that I absolutely meant. You know, I'm a Floridian now. I've been a Marylander and a New Yorker. And I totally get it now, why Texans are so proud of their state. I mean, it gets you teary-eyed watching their sense of self-reliance. Now, thank God there's been a good government response, Pete, but let's be honest. These are Texans out there and people from adjoining states helping Texans out there on those boats, rescuing pets, rescuing people. I mean, this is just, I get it now, why when you go to Texas, people are so proud of their state. You know, you deserve a major pat on the back and a big collective American hug from all of us. What you've done for yourselves under, I mean, unimaginable conditions is incredibly admirable, and you get a big salute from me and the rest of us. Just amazing.
Yeah, it's worth remembering it used to be its own country.
Well, we have a pledge. We all know the Pledge of Allegiance to America. Texans know the Texas Pledge. They say their own pledge to Texas, and it's a whole nother.
Well, now everybody knows why, right?
That's right.
I mean, they're amazing.
Dan, we're going to get your take on Daca, the deferred action for childhood arrivals, and those folks, those kids, all who were here because their parents were here illegally, under no fault of their own. They're here. They've been living, working in many respects, Silicon Valley this week sent an open letter. Apple, Facebook, Google, a lot of major companies said, keep this in place. Otherwise, it's going to cost the economy billions of dollars and billions of dollars out of Medicaid and Social Security because they pay into it. The president under pressure to continue this program. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, listen, that flag we have means something. That flag stands for the rule of law. And there is absolutely no reason why we should be creating a special carve-out to the rule of law for a group of people. That's not what the rule of law is. The whole essence of the rule of law, which is what that flag we have stands for, means that everybody is subjected to it. Daca was an unfair program. It's an unconstitutional program. Barack Obama himself, guys, acknowledged that he could not do this, and then subsequently did it. That's on tape. I'm not making it up. You all can see it on YouTube when he was asked about his powers on to do this. He said he couldn't do it and then went and did it anyway. It is an illegal program. That has to mean something. And then his claims, by the way, of using prosecutorial discretion are nonsense. You can't exempt an entire class of people from the rule of law. And one more thing. Spare me, liberals, please, the lectures on compassion. Spare me. We are the most compassionate country on earth. If you were to do what you did in the United States and come here illegally, in almost any other country in the world, you'd be getting a kick in the butt out of that country the next day. We take in millions of people over the course of decades into this great country. We support them, we do not let them fail, and we give them every avenue to succeed. So spare me the lectures on compassion.
And, Dan, it was an executive action, unconstitutional, yet Congress could change the law if they want. You see Nancy Pelosi and Paul Ryan. That's a dangerous combination when they both come together and say they agree on something, yet we still can't repeal and replace Obamacare or get tax reform done. Do you think this is something that Congress should take up if they're so excited about it?
Bingo. You just nailed it. I saw a tweet yesterday from Jeff Flake, a Republican senator, as you all know, from Arizona, who said we need to take immediate action to protect the kids. Really? Hey, Senator Flake, where was the immediate action on tax cuts? Where's the immediate action right now on Harvey? Where's the immediate action on Obamacare? It's amazing how they prioritize things. We have people who, I get it, there are going to be hard cases, but who are here who are not American citizens. And when they're impacted, we have to take immediate action. But when American citizens are impacted by the devastating effects of Obamacare, we have a major storm. Where's the pressing need then? I mean, this is just incredible, the priorities of Republicans up on the Hill. I'm telling you, any Republican that votes for this to institute Daca legislatively, good luck in a primary on that one. I don't think it's going to work out well for you.
All right, well, we'll see where this goes
That's
this week.
true.
Dan Bongino, good to have you
Thanks,
on this
Dan.
morning.
And we want to take a shot right now of the South Lawn.